Welcome. Today we're going to talk about functions and theories of government. This is going to be the first video you'll be watching for the class. So let us begin. In order to understand kind of what government is, you need to understand what an anarchy is, or that's a state without government. Okay, it exists. Our government exists to prevent anarchy or total chaos from happening. And government really does three things. It creates order, it protects people, and it settles disagreements. So your textbook definition of government is an institution through which leaders exercise power to make and enforce laws affecting the people under its control. We have government for a number of reasons, including leadership, maintaining order, providing public services, national security, as well as economic security and other forms of assistance. So now we get into the topic of what exactly makes a country or a nation or a state. I know it's confusing in the United States because you might hear the term state used for another country. And the answer is, well, they're all pretty much interchangeable. So a nation is a group of people who believe themselves to be united by common bonds of whether it's race, a language, customs, cultures, religion, things like that. An example of this would be the Kurds. Technically, they don't have their own country, but they're still a nation. A state is a political community that occupies a definite territory. So it's a country. It has a physical territory with boundaries and borders and whatnot. And then we get into the topic of sovereignty, where government makes and enforces its own laws without the approval of any other authority. Why is sovereignty important? Well, it's the idea that people have a choice. People can choose the type of government they want, as well as how they want their country to be run. And looking at the origins or the theories of government, we've got a couple that we're going to focus on. One is the evolutionary theory. It's the idea that the idea of the state really came from the family, where the person in charge of the family served as the authority over the group. You can look at the Christian, Jewish, and Muslim religious beliefs. And an example would be Abraham was seen as the patriarch who was the father of many nations. Supporters of this theory believe that government came as a result of extended families needing more organization. Force theory is where states emerged because people needed to cooperate in order to survive. Okay, but this organization only took place when people took control or used force. In order to keep enemies out, walls needed to be built around cities. Leaders could then use violence to threaten people to get them to follow their leadership. And essentially everyone was brought under the authority of this new leader or group of leaders through the use of force. So think of a dictator seizing power. The divine right theory, or the divine right of kings, is the belief that certain people are chosen by a god or gods to rule. You have the Egyptians, the Chinese, the Mayans, the Aztecs. They all believed that their rulers were descendants of God. It really applies to European monarchs, especially during the time leading up to the Enlightenment. They felt that their rule came from God and that their state existed because they were meant to serve God. So if you opposed the monarch or you opposed the monarchy, you were there, in fact, opposing God, which was sinful, and you were going to be a very bad person. The last theory is the social contract theory, which states that states exist to protect and to serve people. And the two biggest thinkers in this theory are Thomas Hobbes and John Locke, where Thomas Hobbes said that without government, we as people are naturally wicked. So people need to surrender their freedom to the state in order to be protected. And John Locke said that people had natural rights and that the government must protect those rights. If that doesn't happen, then the people have the right to overthrow the government. A third thinker is Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who believed that property rights and other basic rights came from people working together as a community. So people created this social contract by working together to preserve these rights while also establishing government.